So let's start by pay homage to the Buddha. Namo Dasa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Dasa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Dasa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa.
Kalau nggak mau suara itu nggak usah gini. Nggak masuk tuh, Mas.
So last time, so we studied lesson 4 and vocabulary. So now time to do the exercise. So in lesson 4, we studied, personal pronouns to use for subject. Okay, for the that person singular saw, that person plural the.
Saya bio. Untuk Bali dia ni. Aku nak. Mulai dah.
Ủa sao không thầy thấy? Dạ.
So 3 persons we already learned in the lesson 4, right? So for the that person, so singular is saw, plural is they, and then second person, so singular is dom, so plural is dome, and then first person, so singular is aham, so plural is so mayam, common form sometimes and me. Okay, so these 3 persons or for the personal pronouns to use for the subject we already learned. Okay, so now so the first one is translate into English. So even though we don't see those subjects, so de, dan, duan, do, me, aham, mayan, and so on, so based on the verb, if we analyze the verb, we can understand that subject automatically. That is Pali characteristic, or the verb of the characteristic in Pali. So here, the past verb is so kasati. So kasati. So okay, so actually, in vocabulary we already learned kasati mean he plows, right? So that is a kasati mean plow, but so based on this verb termination, D. So this is present tense, that person singular. So automatically we can understand, subject is saw, that person singular. So that is saw, kaseti, he plows. Okay. So at that time, if we write or if we translate English sentence into Pali, maybe we make mistake. The kaseti at that time, person or number even though person is right, number is, wrong. So they pronounce like that. Okay. So that is a to be match. We need to do match. We need to, make match in person and number, between subject and the verb. Okay. So now, so the so Pali is so Gazette, you see. Okay. So here, so is actually, the person and then singular, right? So, and in the verb Gazette also, because of this D, we can understand, oh, this is, the person singular. So in this way, they must be matched or they must be consistent with each other. So that person singular. Okay. So that is so mean. So he, but Gazette mean, so, plants. So in this way. So, okay, that so Gazette, maybe if we make mistake in translation, I say, they, plant something. So at that time also, subject and verb agreement, even in English, wrong, you see? So we don't need to use this sign. That is in English. The same way in Pali, subject and verb has, the same agreement. The singular, and person, that person in this way. So that is why, now even though the purpose of this exercise is just to translate so he plus. So it's okay. But so, behind that, doing that exercise, so we need to, understand deeply in this way. So subject and verb agreement. So in English, maybe, just subject and verb agreement is important. But in Pali, person also important. But in English, some verb are maybe, so you, they, we, the subject form is the same, but in Pali different. So that's that we need to, must be careful. So we must be careful for that one, person and the number. Okay. Right. So that is just, if we do something, so at the time, here, person and number are, different. So such a, not correct, I mean. So that is, it should be, he plants. Okay. This one is, how can we make mistake? That one. Okay, so now next example. So next example is Mayan Sayama. So Mayan Sayama. So Sayama. Sayama. So that is, even though, we already learned. So is he, Mayan is we, right? So, but Sayama, if we say Sayama is, lying down, or we lying down, it's okay. But, so because the subject is Mayan, that is in the verb form ma, you see, or in the verb form, verb termination is ma, that is the subject should be Mayan. In this way, we need to understand in detail. So if we understand such a point, only, we can guess the meaning of the verb. So at the time we can do translation, we can do easily. we can translate that one easily into Pali or into English. Okay. So now Mayan Sayama. Okay, Mayan Sayama. Sayama. So Mayan is first person plural. So that is why, we. Okay. And then Sayama. So other than that Sayama also we need to analyze. That Sayama from the root C and the R. So so C becomes C becomes the Saya in this way. And then the ma. Okay. So at the time we can see, oh, this is also first person, so plural, and then present tense. Okay, present tense. So that is why that mean just line down. Okay, line down. Now the whole line means we line down. So in this way. But the important, so we can translate easily. Mayan Siyama mean we line down. It's okay. But so whenever we see the verb in this way, analysis is important. So to get the comprehension, thoroughly understanding, so in the basic level. But later, if we come familiar with that point, okay, no problem for us. So, and then next, so D were bandi. So D were bandi. So here D is subject, that person, and the plural means, they. But wabandi is come from the root wab, sign is R, and the anti. So this anti is present tense, and the the person, and then plural. So okay, now the whole word may grow. So now the whole sentence they were bandit means they grow or they sow. Okay, they sow also. Okay, and the next verb. In this way, whenever we see the verb, so we need to analyze. We need to do analysis of that verb, so that we can understand that construction or such a subject and verb agreement, or what kind of, not only present tense we learned later, now in the lesson 5, future tense, after that past tense, and so on. So at the time, understanding or what kind of tense or mood also will be important, because if we don't know that point, so we cannot translate that one into English. So that is whenever we see that verb termination in each verb, we need to analyze what kind of tense, what kind of mood, and what kind of person, and what kind of number. Okay. So, and then number 5, do me basata. Do me, we already know that you, and basata means root D's. is replaced by the bus and the ta. Okay, sign a, bus ta. So ta also second person plural. So you plural C. You plural C. And then number 6. So saw baseti. The same one, the same root, the same base, basa. Right? D is that person singular present tense. So sees. He sees. And number 7. So ahan Jane day me. So ahan we know the I. But in the Jane day me, so Jane day is root is Jane. And sign is A and the me. Okay. So Jane and JD is no problem just to see what kind of sign. But the meaning is important based on the me. Me is past person singular, past present tense. So root Jane me or JD base mean, to consider or to think. So hand Jane day me. So I think or I consider in this way. And the don't me you plural. So gayeta. So gayeta. So in gayeta, ta is second person plural, present tense, that is a do me agreement with the do me. And then sign is ya, and the root ga. Ga means smell, to smell. Okay, to smell. So now do me gayeta, you smell. You smell something. Okay, gayeta in this way. And then the bruwanti. The bruwanti. So bruwanti we can divide, anti, and then sign is R, and here brew. So just brew what is inserted, right? What is inserted? Bruwanti. Brew is brew me to say. But because of Andy, we know that that was in plural. So they bruwanti mean they say. That was in plural is they in Pali. In English, they. They say in this way. And number 10. So handy. So in the handy, that is irregular verb. Even though we see the end one is anti, very look like the, here brew one, you see? Brew one, the anti. So that is why we may confuse, or we may consider, it may be that but in plural. But here subject is so. So that is not that but in plural. It should be singular. So that is why at that point we need to understand, this is combination of root, hand, and the D. Okay, that is, based on subject, what kind of verb termination also we can understand, or based on the terminology, what kind of subject also we can understand. So that means based on context, I mean. Okay, so handy, hand means to kill. So handy, he kills. Okay, he kills. And then next, so mayan ema. So ema, we can divide only a and the ma. At that time, here problem. We need to know a, what kind of a. So a come from the, so last time I explained, come from the root e, or come from the, r prefix and root e, two way. So mayan ema. Okay, so it comes from the root E, just to go, but come from the R prefix and the E, and then to come. So that is a two-way of translation. We go or we come. Maybe you remember, I hope. So here you see, This one is come from the root E. E directly change to the A. So at the time, if we see A, that he goes, but so R and the E also can be changed to the A. So at the time, if we see AD, he comes. So the same form AD, he comes, or AD, he goes. Okay? Result is the same, but based on the context. So that is here, Mayan aim, we can try, we go or we come. Okay, no problem. Both way can be. And then number 12. So do me eat here also. Do me second person plural. You plural. Eat means come or go. You go or you come. Okay. So now exercise A finished. Now let's go to the B. So B is translate the following English sentences into Pali. So here you come. Also, when you translate English sentences into Pali, so at that time, so a little bit different, approaching. So here you and then come, right? So based on the you, we can understand subject. Oh, this is second person, singular, plural. Okay, right? But come. So when you see come, only base. So A we can understand. So that is here second person. If we consider is as singular, so at the time will be C, or plural will be ta, right? So that is together with this A with the C, or A with the ta, two form can be. So at that time, this you, if we consider as subject, singular, at the time Pali what is Dwam, or if we consider as plural, so will be do me. Okay, so that is fine. So two way of translation. So Dwam AC or do me, eta in this way. Dwam AC, do me eta, you come. So that is fine. Based on the in Pali, so if we understand Bab thoroughly, we can understand what kind of subject, what kind of person, what kind of number, what kind of tense. But in English, not like that. So that is fine. To try when we trying to translate English sentence into Pali, so we need to take care of the subject also. Okay. So now next number 2, I smell. So I is first person singular. So aham and the me. So based on the here I and the smell. So I, based on the I, we can understand subject aham and then me, right? 2. So but based on smell, we can understand only ga and the ya. So that is all together. I smell me. So aham, ga, and before the me short vowel become loud. Gayami in this way. Okay, next. He sows. He means saw and the di. Source means wabba. So wabadi. So wabadi is source. And we think. So we means mayan and the ma. So think means jane day. Okay, mayan jane day ma. So you hibab. You second person singular or plural. Okay, singular. So tuan and then verb termination C. We can understand based on the you. But hibab means just ji na. So ji na si. Tuan ji na si. Or if we take as a plural, so you, do me and the ta. Hibab's only ji na. So ji na ta. Do me ji na ta. And number 6, they are growing. They are sowing. Okay, they are sowing. So they are, they mean, so we can understand they and the. So are sowing means just verb ba. So together, they verb bandi. The same way we see, we means mayan and ma by termination, but si means basa. So mayan, basa, ma. So you here, you mean tuan and the si. Here means suna. Tuan sin suna si or do me suna ta. Okay, I am. So here I mean am. And then me. So am mean root as. So aham as me or aham and me. So they kill. Also they. So in Pali, they and the andi can be. But kill me root hana, base hana. So hanandi, de hanandi. So in this way. So we need to understand like that. Okay, I hope you understand. So let's move to the next exercise or next lesson. So lesson 5. Future tense. So future tense in English we use preposition. Have been verb or auxiliary verb will or share. Right? So but in Pali, so the whole verb termination can express that future sense. We don't have the will or share or such a have been verb in Pali. So that is why to form the future verb. This formula you can understand. So verb base plus by adding the future tense. So we have the future verb. Now, so even though in English they use well or shall, to have the verb to change into the future mood or future tense, Pali is not like that. Okay. So to the verb base, by adding the future tense verb termination directly, we have the future verb. Okay, now future tense verb termination. So that was saying, okay. So singular and then plural. So now that was saying. So okay, to remember future tense, firstly, D and the present tense. Do you remember? And the second person, singular is C, and then ta, right? And then first person, singular is me, and the ma. Okay, that is present tense. But to every present tense verbal termination, so we add the sasa. You see, sasa. And here also by adding the sasa. And here also by adding the sasa. Here also by adding the sasa. So here also by adding the sasa. Okay, here also by adding the sasa. In this way, so we have sati, and then here sandy, this R gets dropped. And here sa si, and then here sa ta. So here also actually should be sa mi, but at the very beginning we already learned. So before the mi ma sound, if we see this become the long, right? So that is a sa mi. So here also sa ma. So in this way, so by adding to the now this note, so sa adding to the present tense verb termination. So we have the future tense verb termination. So now the future tense verb terminations are like this: singular and then plural. So the person is sati, and plural is sandy. And second person, singular is sasi, plural is sata. And then first person, singular is sami, and then plural is sama in this way. So that you can understand, you can remember easily based on the present tense. So just sasa is etc. Sasa is etc. So sadi, sandi, sasi, sata, sami, sama. So maybe we may say this sasa is like the well or share in Pali. Okay. So sadi, sandi, sasi, sata, sami, sama. Okay, sadi means he well. So Sandy means they will. Sasi means you will or you shall. So Sata means you will, you shall. So Sami, I shall, or Sama, or we shall. So in this way. Okay, and then one more important thing. So before this sa or all of the future tense, so it is inserted. Okay, it is inserted. So within bracket. So that insertion it is within bracket. So that means in some form no, but commonly yes, inserted. Okay, in this way. So asceti. So to remember that insertion, we pronounce asceti, ascendi, ascesi, asceta, asami, asama. So he will, or asceti, he will, ascendi, they will, ascesi, you will, asceta, you plural will. So asami, I shall, I will. So asama, we shall, we will. Okay, in this way. So that is why, if we know the present verb, so for example, present verb is kasati, right? So kasati means, so he plants, right? He plants. But by removing this D, we have the kasa base, kasa base. So kasa means, to plant, okay? But to that kasa, by adding the asceti, ascendi, ascesi, asceta, so asami, and then so asama, and then we have the kasedi. So here, because of this e insertion ending by way of the base, where we drop. Sorry, this one where we drop. So that is why we have formed kasedi, so etc. Kasedi, he will plant. Kasedi, they will plant. And kasedi, you will plant. Kaseta, you plural will plant. And kasesami, I will plant, I shall plant. And kasesama, we will plant. Okay. So in this way, very easy to form future verb. So just to the present tense base or present base or verb base. Just to verb base by adding the, future tense verb termination. Okay. By adding future tense verb termination, we have the future verb. So that is why, to find the base of each verb is quite important. At the very beginning, I, repeatedly told you. So, kasesedi, kasesandi, kasesesi, kasesata, kasesami, kasesama, in this way. Okay, that is fine. In Parliament is so the first one is, root dawa. That base is dawa. So, dawa seti, he will run. and David Sandy, they will run. And David succeed, so you singular will run. And David Zeta, you plural will run. And the David saw me, I shall run, and the David saw ma, we shall run. And together with the personal pronoun. So David said he will run. David Sandy, they will run. And so on. Tuan David succeed, Dohme David Zeta, and David Sami, Mayan David Sama. You see how easy it is, how systematic it is. So the same way, root is ki, but base is ki na. To the ki na by adding though asd, asandi, asasi, asata, asami, asama, and the end of base is drop. End of bawe, and then bawe of base is drop. This R will be drop. Okay, so that is why. So kine sati, kine sandi, kine sasi, kine sata, and then kine sami. You see, kine sama. So and then together with the personal pronoun subject. So kine sati, di kine sandi, duan kine sasi, do me kine sata. Aham kine sami, mayang kine sama. So that is why if you remember root and then base and their meaning. So whatever verb you see, you can render into English or into your language. Okay. And then next. So here important one. So in the that future tense, before the verb termination, this E is inserted. But not always, mostly. In some, there will be exception. Okay. Where happen is exception. So that is in the base and in the A, that exception will happen. So now root is this, but sign is, A. Sign is A, you see? A. So now they say we have base. If the root or if the base ending in the A or in 7-sign group, so at the time we don't insert E before the verb termination future tense, before the future tense verb termination. So that is why. So to the they say only, Saturday is added, no E insertion there. Okay, that is why they city, not they city. Please remember, they city, and then they say and the sandy, this is sandy, and they say and the sassy, this is sassy, and they say and the sata, this is sata, and they say and the sami, this is sami, they say and the sama, this is sama. No E inserted. Okay, so that is why exception is for the root base and in the A, it is not inserted. So this is a D. So he was saw this is a D, he was expound. This is a D, they were expound. When this is a C, you were expound. Don't make this is a ta, you will expound. Ahem, this is Sami, I shall expound. Mayan, this is Sama, we shall expound. Okay. And then now next base. So you see, the first base dawa is ending in the A. And the second base dagina is ending in the A. And the third base is ending in the, A. And then fourth base is ending in the O. That is summary of those conjugational signs. Even though there are 7 conjugational signs, if we analyze based on their end number, only 4 kinds, you see, we already learned that point. That is only, 4 bases are provided here. So if we understand these 4, so we can do every buff. We can form every buff. So now, root guard and the base, or sign or, so grow base. So even though base is ending in the or, so we inserted it, you see. Yeah, it insertion, right? So that is an or is drawn. So Kare Sati, Kare Sandi, Kare Sasi, Kare Sata, Kare Sami, Kare Sama. So Kare Sati, root mean to do, or grow base also to do, or to make. So Kare Sati, he will make. And they Kare Sandi, they will make, they will do. Duan Kare Sasi, you will make. Do me, Kare Sata, you will make. Han Kare Sami, I shall make. Maya Kare Sama, we shall make. So that is maybe whatever. So power set same as A. And so Gaye set. Okay, the same as Dawa. So whatever buff or whatever base in the R or A or O. So the same way to form future buff. Okay, that is one. So now the here R and then maybe Suna base. So after adding these ACD, ACD, etc. So we have Sunni, Sati, and so on. Oh, this is Sunna, sorry. The same way, A and it is Bawi, but at the time. So we don't insert E, that is why. So just Sati, so Sandi, Saksi, Sata, Sami, and the Sama. So now we have Bawi, Sati, so etc. And then another base is steno ending in the O by adding the ACD, ACD, ACC, etc. So we have the tenate, seti, and so on. So in this way, to form the future buff, okay. So only this bar we ending in the A, so it is not inserted, you see. So, okay, any question? How to make a question sentence from the future tense, meaning, so and this is Sami, I will is found. Okay, that one later will be. Now just focusing on the how to form the verb. Maybe later lesson we will see that point.
Hello, Pear. I have 2 questions.
Okay.
So first of all, for the future tense, you see like the E is like in the bracket. So sometimes we drop it, sometimes we keep it, right? And then so these example, then we have the kasa, suna, bawe, tano. But you know like how for the present tense verbal termination, we have the anti, right?
Yes.
And the a, most of the time when it's add together with the base, the a get dropped instead of the size of the base. But here, most of the time the size got dropped instead of the verbal termination. But I thought that this is right here, it's just like the a, it's not as important because you know, without this e, the side, we also know this is future tense. But then when the side get dropped, sometimes we don't know what size of the base, right? Does it make sense? Last time you explained that the reason why the a get dropped when it's formed with the verbal term, the base is because in terms of importance, the side would let you know to form the base, right? So therefore the a get dropped. But with the same logic, with this right here, the ease is not as important at the size of the base, but most of the time you see a, and r get dropped, e get kept, except for the a. Why is it like that?
Why it's like that? How to say?
Does it make sense, my question?
Yes, but so how to say? In language, you know, even though some are, you know, reasonable, some are, you know, how to say? Maybe this also this E is maybe a part of the sign of future. Not before every rule. Sorry, not before every verbal termination we don't insert. In the future, maybe in the past tense, also some verbal termination started with the consonant. So at the time also such a we can find not only in the future. So let me say frankly, maybe a sign of future tense or a sign of some verbal termination. So why we don't have a reason exactly?
Yeah, but the thing is like when it ends in air, so air got kept and then e got dropped. Is it because of phonetics is air is like stronger or more powerful? That's why it's got, you know, kept and then the e got dropped. See, you see the base and in the verb, the conjugational size air, just like how e is always changed to air in the phonetics when we change the base. So just like that, when the two together, then this one get dropped. Okay. Next question.
Okay.
You know how when we go to the verbs, right? Like ti and anti for the, especially for the third person singular. So when we do the exercise, it's always like he's, which is a male. So how do we know with that same verb it's a female? It have to be based on context?
The same, male or female. So that is at the very beginning when I introduce, I don't, you know, focus on the gender. So gender is only for the noun form. Verb is genderless. So that is why genderless mean for the man also dawati, for the woman also dawati. But subject will be different. Subject is come from the noun, right? So noun can be, you know, based on the gender. The way of forming will be different.
But when it's the personal pronoun, let's say with the so, we don't know if it's he or she.
So is he, not she. So
And what is she?
she is Sa.
How come it's not there?
Later. So at the time, you know, your understanding will be, you know, mixed with the, and now we are focusing on the, you know, we are focusing on the, you know, we are forming verb step by step.
No, I'm talking about the pronoun.
Yeah. Okay, leave it. So necessarily, so we need to build a sentence longer and longer. That is why after verb, now we introduce personal pronoun. So after that, only verb form we will focus. And then in noun chapter, we will introduce those now.
No, but the pronoun, why is only he? There's no she. There's only so right there, you see?
Sa is she.
I know, but why is so complicated when there's sa's in there?
So under the noun chapter, we will learn that point.
Okay, Pia.
Because we don't have started, now about so how to decline or how to change based on the gender, what happened. So actually, when I explain what is different between so and sa, maybe that explanation will be taken now, maybe later 2 times or 3 times. Within short time, it's quite difficult. And also your understanding will be blocked by that explanation. That is fine.
Okay, Pia.
Okay, any more question? So maybe some of you already have some knowledge. So at the time, that explanation is maybe very easy or piece okay for you. But so the aim of this lesson or this lecture is focusing on the beginner. So that is why I'm very carefully explain step by step. So that is even though your question I need to answer, but sometimes I'm afraid so to disturb for beginner. So that is why sometimes I avoid your question. So because that one also later we will see.
Thank you, Bante. Good idea.
Bante, Sukiotu.
Mm-hmm.
Bante, the roots that Bante mentioned is merely for verbs, is it, Bante? It's merely
Again, please.
for the roots, like the key, the these, all these are merely for verbs, is it, Bante? That brew and all that. Do we need to learn? I mean, are these roots based on verbs only?
Rule based on the what? Sorry.
On the verb, Bante. Like for example, dua,
Mm-hmm.
the root dua, all these are for verbs, is it? Key, all these roots are meant for verbs only, is it?
Okay. So now so for example, so root this. Okay, that is root. Maybe to see or to expound. Okay. So by to the root this, by adding the sign and sign and the so verb termination, maybe me like that. So we have the verb form. So they say me. But later, what building also we will have. For example, to the they say base by adding the another, for example, door. So at the time, this is gerund or absolute form. So, for example, having expounded like that or after expounding in this way. In this way, what building later we will learn gerund form. And also to the they say by adding the another surface. So we have the the sana or something that is discourses or talk. In this way later we will learn.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Bante.
Okay,
Thank
welcome.
you, Sadhu.
So, okay, but see the document D. Okay, so please join to the, okay, I will share again. So for the, every note, so I share in the, Google Doc. So if you join that one, then every day you will have the update note. I shared the link already, but again, I will do it.
Thank you, Bante.
Okay. So if you join this with your mail, so you can enter, you can join freely. So at that time, later every lecture will be updated. Okay, any more questions? Okay, so if no more questions, so let me stop here by saying sadhu 3 times. Sadhu,
Sadhu,
sadhu, sadhu.
Bante.
Sadhu,
Good
Bante. Thank you so
Welcome.
much.
Bante.
Thank you so much.